During this video, I'm going to teach you the next 3 closing techniques, which are the trial close, the power of suggestion close, and the invitational close. Now, the trial close is a technique that a professional salesperson asks throughout the presentation to find out how well he is doing. It's also called the check close. You use it to check your progress. Here's how it works. You present a part of your product or service offering, and then you ask, what do you think of this so far? Does this make sense to you? Is this what you're looking for? Is this what you had in mind? Is this an improvement on what you're doing right now? These are all trial closes. The best thing about a trial close is that the prospect can answer no, and it doesn't end the presentation. For example, you could ask, is this the sort of layout that you're looking for? The prospect might say no. You can then say, well, that's good to know because we have several other layouts. You could ask, do you like this color? If the prospect says yes, you know you are getting closer to a sale. If the prospect says no, I don't like that color, you can say, well, that's all right, we have several other colors available. The trial or check close is like a signpost at a crossroads that tells you which way to go. Imagine that you're traveling down a road and you come to a fork, and at the fork you say, how do you like this? Are we on the right road? At the next fork, you check again to make sure that the customer is still happy with what you are showing him or her. Now, good salespeople ask check closes throughout the sales conversation. They never present a piece of information without asking and confirming that they're on the right track with a check close. For example, you drive up to the front of the house. You then ask, how do you like the outside look of this house? You come in the door and you ask, what do you think about this entry hallway? Do you like this color scheme? Yes or no? Do you like the way that this is laid out? Yes or no? Professional salespeople ask questions continually, and the answers give them steady feedback that enables them eventually to develop a clear picture of exactly what the prospect wants. The next technique is called the power of suggestion close. This close is based on the fact that we are all very susceptible to the suggestive influences of people around us. For example, when a person becomes excited about something, that excitement is often contagious. Other people can become excited as well. When a person becomes enthusiastic about something, that enthusiasm can be contagious as well. The way you use the power of suggestion close is by creating emotions in the prospect with words or pictures. For example, you can say, you're really going to enjoy the way this car handles on the road. My brother has one of these cars and he just loves the way it grips the road when he corners. In other words, you talk to the prospect as if he already owns the product or service that you are selling. You say you are really going to be happy when you travel in this car this summer, or you're really going to enjoy this holiday to Europe, or you're going to love this tour, or you are going to love living in this neighborhood. This is one of the best neighborhoods in this part of the city. You talk to them throughout as if they had already made the decision to buy. You continually create mental pictures of what it's going to be like to use, to enjoy, to benefit, and to own the product. As you create these emotional word pictures, their thinking changes. Instead of thinking, should I buy it or not, they're starting to think of how they're going to enjoy it once they own it. So you should always be positively and confidently talking to your prospects in language that suggests that they already own your product or service. This language exerts a powerful influence on their thinking and their decision making. The next technique is called the invitational close. The invitational close is used when you simply invite the prospect to make a buying decision. My favorite invitational close is, why don't you give it a try? When you say, why don't you give it a try, you're saying or suggesting that making the purchase decision is no big deal. It's an easy decision to make. For example, why don't you give that car a try? You are suggesting that if you don't like it, you can try something else. Why don't you give it a try is a very subtle way of saying that you still have your options open. Another version of the invitational close is, why don't you take it? A real estate salesman from my course found that his sales increased almost 40% using this technique. Each time he showed a house to a couple, he would ask a trial closing question like, how do you like the house? If they said, well, it seems very nice, he would then ask, why don't you buy it? Why don't you make an offer? The way you use the power of suggestion close is by creating emotions in the prospect with words or pictures. It's amazing how many prospects will say, well, sure, why not? Another invitational close is simply, how many would you like? Or what color would you like? Or would you like us to get started on this right away? Or is this what you had in mind? In other words, you invite the prospect to make a decision. You don't come to the end of the presentation and then ask, well, what do you think? There's the story of the salesperson who comes back to the office and says, boy, did I have a lot of good interviews today? The other salesperson says, yeah, I didn't sell anything either. Remember that you do not offend people by asking them to make a buying decision once they've indicated an interest in owning or enjoying the benefits of your product or service. Don't be afraid to ask or to invite them to buy. Now, we've just covered the trial close, the power of suggestion close, and the invitational close. In the next video, I'm going to teach you the 5 techniques in my 24 techniques for closing the sales series that follow these.